if you're out working in the yard, you're planting flowers, and you put your hand down to move and you put it in dog poop.
Yep.
Are you just going to wipe it off with paper and go on about your business? Are you going to wipe it off with paper and go eat lunch? Are you just going to wipe it off with paper and just the rest of your day? Yeah, I know what that is.
And you turned into the bidet salesman right there.
I did.
Yep.
And I said, or do you go in and rinse it off with water?
Right.
At least.
Right.
Turn on the hose, rinse it off with water, and say, okay, it's gone. I'm good. I'm a plumber. That's good enough for me. I rinsed it off with water. But she heard me say that, and she waited till I was in. She said, oh my God, I'm going to steal that from you.
Yeah, I'm using that, right?
I said, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Tradesmen built America. Not policymakers or desk jockeys, but hardworking, blue-collared men and women. Join me, Roger Wakefield, on conversations with some of the nation's most successful skilled laborers. This is the Trade Talks. I remember sitting at lunch one day, one of the first union jobs I was ever on, sitting next to a union plumber. He says, look, I'm leaving early. I'm getting out of here early today. And I said, really? He said, what's going on, man? He said, I've got a plumber coming to the house to fix my toilet. And I looked at him. I'm like, wait, you're a union plumber? He said, yeah, but they don't teach us how to fix toilets and stuff like that. We just do plumbing. We install it. And I already tell by the look on your face, I know. Does it blow your mind that a union trained plumber could not know how to fix his own toilet? And you're I'm going to call you an IT guy, a website guy, a computer geek.
Right.
But you've gone on and, taught people how to fix their own stuff. Does it blow your mind that a union plumber doesn't even know how to stop his toilet from running?
Totally. Like, wasn't he embarrassed to say that?
I would have been. He
right?
wasn't. He's like, I'm going home. I got things to do. I got a plumber.
I called a plumber to
yeah.
Okay.
And scheduled it. I mean, this isn't even, hey man, I can't fix it. So I'm going to call somebody that's scheduled it.
He knew in advance. He's like, come over to my house at Thursday at 2, right?
Yeah.
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 No, that does blow my mind because, and that's what this is like. That's what my channel and what we do is all about, is just making sure people know how to do the basic things around the house. With the toilet, I feel like most homeowners should know how to do just about everything, from installing it to troubleshooting when the chain gets stuck. Some of the new mechanisms in there might be tricky for people. I get that, but I'm surprised that a plumber wouldn't know that.
I'm going to call you a professional DIYer.
Sure.
I've seen what all you do. Do you think most tradespeople know how to do most of the things you do?
I think tradespeople in general are curious and kind of, for lack of a better term, engineering minded. Like they're curious about how things work. They want to understand how things work. So I would think they either know, or those that don't are willing to dig into it and figure it out. I might be wrong on that, but we get professional tradespeople all the time commenting on the channel and sharing tips and critiquing, right? I do things wrong.
No, they're not critiquing. They're talking bad.
Okay. They are.
No, I read some of the comments.
They're like, you're an idiot, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. I get those same comments.
Yeah. So we get some of that. I don't know. I would think that they would be curious enough to go figure some of that stuff out. So I don't know if that instance that you just brought up is traditional or like if that's common at all. What do you think? Like, is that something that you would, that kind of blows my mind.
It blew mine.
Yeah.
Look, I'm still talking about this, and that was probably 1997.
Okay.
So 30 years ago, and I'm still talking about it.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like everybody, especially those who are willing to figure out how things work. That's really what the trades is all about. It's understanding how systems work, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you can figure that out, then I think it translates pretty well into other systems within the home.
Now, you went to a school that taught trades.
Yes.
But you learned computers.
I did.
What kind of trade is that? I mean, seriously.
Oh, well, it's one that pays the bills and everything like that.
Okay. I can't argue with that.
And for real, that's why I went. I think that's kind of, so my heart has always been in the trades and working with my hands and figuring things out. But I think I felt a little bit of a pressure to do whatever I felt could put money on the table fastest.
You bet.
And give me a higher cap, right? And at the time, at least, that didn't seem to be going into plumbing, going into woodworking, going into welding, anything like that. And so I kind of followed that, and I was good at it. I was decent at it, at least. So it worked out pretty well. But the whole time, years, decades, I spent all the nights and weekends just playing around with stuff around the house and trying to understand how things worked and kind of living my true, kind of being true to myself off on the side while I was trying to make sure I had plenty of food on the table for the kids and my wife and that kind of thing. Now, granted, I didn't know that there was a good living to be had in the trades.
Yeah. And
I really didn't.
Well, I mean, of course, none of us knew back then that, hey, look, if we're good at something, we can learn to video it.
Right.
And,
That's a whole other thing, man.
Moved into a whole nother world.
Right.
But yeah, it's neat talking to you last night. You're like, look, I was getting trained for doing what I do, and I didn't even know it really at the time.
Yep.
It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
So tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Nils Rasmussen. I run a channel called Learn to DIY. And on that channel, our whole goal is to help homeowners do whatever the basics they need to do around the house. And that goes from repairing things that need repairing to maintaining things and avoiding disasters happening in the future to upgrades. So it's those three categories, kind of almost a past, present, future sort of deal. And our goal is try to help people understand how to use their tools, knowing the systems that are in their house, and just trying to get a little bit better. So we want to make sure there's a line that people understand that you need to call a professional at some point, but find out if you can push that line a little bit safely. If you can know and feel empowered enough to do some things yourself so that you don't have to call a plumber or you don't have to call an electrician to do the little things that you can pretty safely do yourself.
So do you ever, and I'm going to pick on plumbers.
Sure.
I mean, I resemble that group slightly.
You do slightly, yeah.
But my thought is, do you ever have plumbers jump in and say, look, why are you teaching people to do this? You're taking money out of our pockets or anything. Because I get that comment. It blows my mind.
Yeah, no, I don't get a lot of that, honestly, but I do get kind of the cautionary tales where honestly, most of the people I've met are good people.
Mm-hmm.
They have good intentions. They want to help others. And so I don't get a lot of that kind of thing, but I do get people saying, if you don't know how to, the comment I hate the most is if you don't know how to do X, you shouldn't be trying it. And when it's something super dangerous or whatever, I'm trying to remember the instance that came up just the other day. It was like, I had one, if you can't drive a nail in one hit, you shouldn't be using a hammer. I thought that's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. That's kind of like saying, if you don't know how to do your profession, you should never try, right?
Right.
You got to learn. You got to figure some things out. Now, if you don't know how to run 240 volts into your house, then yeah, you need to get some help. You need to get a professional in there for sure.
Or go to YouTube and figure it out.
Or go to YouTube and figure it out, right?
But I mean, and that's my thought is, again, go back to this plumber. I don't know what plumbers cost back then. I know nowadays that ain't cheap.
Yep.
And I mean, even back then, it wasn't cheap because I did service plumbing before I got back in the union or into the union. But I'm looking at the things I teach now. And I have some plumbers reach out and say, I can't believe you're taking money out of our pockets.
Yeah.
It's like, because I showed somebody how to change a flapper.
Right.
One of my top videos, how to stop a running toilet.
Yep.
Okay. Guaranteed.
Right.
If you can do these 4 things, look, you can stop it.
Right.
It is what it is. And I probably threw in a cautionary, if this didn't work, change the toilet, it'll stop,
Right.
Not really, but that would have been a great idea.
Right.
I love watching the things you do because there's a lot of things that even me, I tell people all the time, I would have never been a good electrician. Don't like electricity, don't want to be shocked. The thought of getting shocked just pisses me off. And it's like, okay, that's not fun to me.
Right.
Water, you get me wet any day. I don't care.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Yeah. If it's cold outside, get me wet, I'll get pissed at you, but I'm going to get in the truck or something.
Right.
I don't like the cold. But to fix something, I mean, I remember I cut open my wall at home and ran an electrical line from the wall switch.
Okay.
Because I wanted an outlet down by my toilet.
Yeah. Okay. Very common one. Yeah.
You bet.
Yep.
Not hard to do.
Right.
And I mean, I remember even asking my little brother, who's an IT person.
Okay.
Big senior VP of IT for this major corporation.
Yep.
And I'm telling him I need to put an electrical outlet. And he's like, well, just pull it off your wall switch.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, you can do that?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. You're my little brother. How do you know this? You're a computer geek. How do you know this?
Yeah.
But I did. I went home, started searching it, and it's like, man, this is not hard to do.
I can do this, right?
Yeah. I can do this.
Yeah.
So I did. And it's funny because, I'm a plumber. I make videos about bidet toilet seats.
Right.
I've only had it in the guest bathroom
Okay.
for 3 or 4 years. So earlier this year, I finally cut a hole in my wall, ran a line down, so I've got it in my master bathroom.
And I got to ask you, Roger,
Yeah.
what do you think?
About the bidet toilet
The
seat, or how
bidets,
easy
the
it was
bidet.
to do. Oh,
Yeah.
it's my favorite thing.
Okay.
I laugh at people that say, yeah, whatever.
Right.
I won a contest from American Standard, the expert plumber. That's how I got started doing social media.
Okay.
Facebook, just different things. I did so much with American Standard. I had their login, their app. I could go live on their channel.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't, hey, we're going to invite you in or anything. It's like, there's the login.
You're in.
Go.
Yeah.
It's yours. And I had to do like 4 logins for them throughout the year, or 4 lives for them. But part of my contract is I went to KBIS, the kitchen and bath industry show.
Okay.
It's either in Vegas or Orlando every year.
Okay.
And I went to the show and they wanted me to talk about different things. But they were talking about the bidet toilet seats, and I already had one, loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to, or I guess the director of marketing, vice president of marketing, heard me talking to some people that were coming through. And I just look at them, I say, look at it this way. If you're out working in the yard, you're planting flowers, and you put your hand down to move and you put it in dog poop.
Yep.
Are you just going to wipe it off with paper and go on about your business? Are you going to wipe it off with paper and go eat lunch? Are you just going to wipe it off with paper and just the rest of your day? Yeah, I don't know what that is.
And you turned into the bidet salesman right there.
I did. Yep. And I said, or do you go in and rinse it off with water?
Right.
At least.
Right.
Turn on the hose, rinse it off with water, and say, okay, it's gone. I'm good. I'm a plumber. That's good enough for me. I'll rinse it off with water. But she heard me say that, and she waited till I was in. She said, oh my God, I'm going to steal that from you.
Yeah, I'm using that, right?
I said, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
But that's how I try to tell people about bidet toilet seats.
Yep.
If you had a choice to rinse yourself clean,
right,
or just take some dry paper and wipe yourself off.
Yep. There's an easy choice there.
To me, it is.
We got our first bidet with a sponsor as well. So a sponsor said, we want you to do a bit here about this. And I said, okay, well, what I'm going to, and this was not an electrical, this was a hot water one, which is a totally different beast. So I actually ran a hot water line to my toilet adjacent to the cold water line.
Ooh.
And so,
I haven't seen that type yet, because now everything that I see has a built-in tank, built-in heater, and you plug it in.
And there's a reason. That kind is better, in my opinion, because I don't get instant hot water.
And you don't have a hot toilet seat, do you?
No, I don't. Warm. I don't have a heated toilet. And I've heard about that. I'm jealous.
And you don't have the lights. You don't have the blow dryer.
Oh, wow. Now you're getting fancy. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Okay.
Let me tell you what. Bidet toilet seats, that is a whole DIY channel for you right there. Not a whole channel, a whole good video right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and my wife loves it. So she's like, when we go on trips and stuff, she's like, I kind of miss the bidet. I want to go home to the bidet. And we don't have the nice one either. So
have you seen the video I did? I was in Deer Park, Florida for a conference, and I carried a bidet toilet seat with me and installed it in my hotel room.
I have not seen that.
So up your game, brother. I'm just telling you, take care of your woman.
Oh, man.
Take care of your woman.
I hope my wife's not listening right now.
Yeah, I'm going to send this to her.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So DIY, you're a computer guy.
Yep.
Have you come across anything that just scares you, where it's like, you know what? I'm afraid to do that, or I don't want to do that because.
Really, no. I kind of feel like once you start, and this is what goes back to the original question you asked about people in the trades doing other trades, and do they know how to do things around the house? My mindset is that everything is a series of steps. Everything can be broken down into chunks that are digestible. And I feel like if you can kind of step back for a second and realize this isn't this massive project, this isn't this black hole of unknown information, I just got to start getting into it and figuring out. I got to talk to people who know. I got to do some YouTube research. And I think that's me. I don't know if that's you, but that's how I learn. As I go to YouTube, I watch people do things. I read some articles. Then I go to the forums and I find all the people who are like, you get all kinds of Wild West comments in the forums and stuff. But the short answer is not really. Like, I can't think of anything that scares me. And if it scares me even a little bit, I'll be like, teach me. I want to know. I want to understand how this stuff works. And I think that's just what it comes down to. If you're curious enough to figure out how stuff works, then you'll realize, now I haven't done rocket science. I haven't tried to put anything in space. I'm probably never going to do that, and that's okay. But for things around the house, any of the standard
Well, that's
systems,
not really a DIY thing, though, is
No,
it?
it's not.
Okay.
No, but anything that could be DIY at all, really, I'm down. Like, let's do it. So
I love that.
If you're enjoying the Trade Talks, hit that subscribe or follow button, which helps us produce this awesome blue-collar content absolutely free. And now, back to the episode.
Number one, do you have your own forum yet?
no, I need to.
So see, I started my own subreddit,
Okay.
Roger Wakefield Posts.
Okay.
So it's like people can go in and put videos or ask questions, and I've got a community in there that is just like, Roger, we got this.
Yep.
They'll answer it. That they know me. That they're like, look, Roger always. My thing whenever I had my plumbing company, told my people, when you walk into a house, you pretend it's your mama's house or your grandmama's house.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do?
Right.
How would you do it? And sometimes they come and say, man, I got to ask you a question. It's like, okay, I don't know whether to do this or this. Okay. If this was your mother's house, which one would you do? Then do you see any reason we wouldn't do it here? And they're like, no, just wanted to check. Yep. And sometimes we've lost money. It's like, look, we told them we'd fix this. This is the right thing to do. It is what it is.
Right.
What made you decide to fire up a camera and shoot a video showing people how to fix something?
Trying to figure out how best to answer that, because I didn't start where I ended up at all. I started actually by my first instructional video was teaching someone how to fix a broken sewing machine, actually.
So what were you sewing and realized your sewing machine didn't work anymore?
Okay, so this is we got to rewind back 15 years or so. Actually, it was about 12 years. We were so poor, we couldn't afford to buy Halloween costumes for the kids. This is me trying to get my start back to the IT thing. This is me, low-level IT guy, still in school, in college, trying to get my degree and going through this. Again, lots of lessons learned along the way, but I said, if you can make our daughter's costumes, I'll make our son's costume, and let's make them ourselves, right? We'll be crafty, we'll be scrappy. I broke the sewing machine, the sole tool that we had to make these kits or these costumes. I remember we were making Avatar costumes for the kids from the cartoon. Long story short, couldn't find it. A fix for how to do anything. Found one guy on YouTube who literally recorded some video on his phone at 2 a.m. He was drunk. He was clearly drunk in the video. And I was like, well, I figured out how to fix it, because I've always been curious and try to fix things. I did figure out how to fix it. It was called the hook timing for your sewing machine. And then I said, I got to share this with people. I have a camera. I have a microphone. Let's just get this out there.
Okay, now, when you say you had a camera, what kind of camera did you have? What did you start with?
I don't know if I could tell you the exact model, but it was a Canon DSLR.
Okay.
It was probably, and I honestly don't remember the models, but it was one of those kit cameras that you buy that it comes with a lens, and sometimes it comes with a little tripod and stuff like that too. And it was just a basic thing.
A starter kit.
A starter kit,
You
yeah.
bet. I love that.
But it was great. They probably nowadays sell for $500 or something like that with a lens and everything. And it was fantastic. I love photography and videography and messing with that stuff. And again, like you mentioned earlier, that's kind of what I did in school, as I kind of took the pre-YouTube degree before YouTube was really a thing. And so I already had some of that stuff, and I just went for it. Honestly, with the phones we have today, they'll do a better job than most of what I had at that time.
I don't want to take you away from your story. I spoke at a real estate event the other day, and one of the guys before me was talking about what they're doing on Instagram and YouTube and all that. And he said, my real estate agents know if they shoot the house with an iPhone, I'm firing them.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like,
You got it backwards, brother.
dude,
Yeah.
you get them shooting. You just be happy they're
Get the
shooting.
content out there. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you can get such amazing content off that. Anyway.
No,
okay,
absolutely.
Go ahead. Sorry
No,
about that.
so no, you're good. So I did put the video out, put it on YouTube, and this was back in the days when you didn't have to reach any thresholds to monetize. You just say, here's my bank account. If someone watches this and you run an ad, give me a few cents, right?
It's not that easy anymore.
It's not that easy anymore, but it's still totally attainable.
It's not hard.
No,
It's if you come in and you're serious, it's not
that's
hard.
the key. You got to be persistent. You
You
got to
bet.
be into it. You can't throw a video up and expect to get rich.
Yes. Okay.
So, I put the video up, and then I said, actually, what happened is somebody actually put it on a sewing forum with a bunch of little old grandmas, right, watching it, and they were like, "Oh, look at him! He's making his costumes or whatever," And I got all these comments. But what that did is it drove a little bit of traffic to the video. And as a result, I got like 12 cents. I remember the first time I saw 12 cents show up, and I was like, Katrina, my wife, Katrina, we got 12 cents. And she's like, from what? And I said, we were sleeping and this video was making money for us. And it kind of went from there. And I started making videos for all kinds of stuff, realizing not only that was it making a few cents, but people were watching it and were fixing things because of what I showed them. And so I actually didn't figure out what my groove was as far as where I was going to go with this into this home improvement DIY. That took me probably a year of throwing, spaghetti at the wall basically to figure that out. And then I realized I'm doing this stuff all the time. So that's what I would do. I'd be like, okay, the toilet's broken. I'm going to fix it, but I'm going to make a video. We need to reno the bathroom and put some new flooring and then redo the baseboard. Okay, that's 2 videos right there. And then I'll do one that shows the whole, finished product. We were finishing the basement and I was doing that by myself. And so I was like, all right, there's lots of videos there. And so I made a bunch. So it just kind of went down that track where I realized we all have these questions.
You bet.
We all want to know how to do these things. And it started out as a resource channel, essentially, where it was the search stuff, right? You'd search how to XYZ. And what I've realized now is I'm trying to get people who aren't looking. I'm trying to find those people who might be curious enough to know how something works or to learn about a tool or learn about a process, even when they're not looking for it, in hopes that we can get their interest piqued so that they can say, that's not as hard as I thought, that what he just showed, maybe I can do that myself. So that's kind of the path that went down. And I'm excited. Like, I can't wait to see it grow.
So we've got the same YouTube coach. I literally thought of a bucket for you. That's not as hard as I thought.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because a lot of people, had I seen that, it's not as hard as you thought. Adding an electrical outlet.
Yeah. XYZ isn't as hard as you think.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I want to see this. Okay.
I like it. I'll
Create
try it.
curiosity.
Yep.
Okay. Randy talks about it all the time. But my thought is, I love that because I think that's what most tradespeople, you look around this room, me and Randy and I did this room.
Yeah.
There was a door here. There was a door here. There wasn't one there.
Oh, okay.
But we knew that we wanted this to look like the office we had in Richardson. The studio over there had the door, but it was just a blank room with just walls that look like this ceiling.
Right.
So we've covered, those of y'all that can't tell, we've covered the walls in wood. You can see one over here, I think. The one over here, you can see behind him with the rustic wood. We did that.
Yep.
And, we've got the tools to do it. So it's like we set up out there and did it. And even the flooring, which this is the cheapest carpet I could find. I was looking for some different carpet and I saw this. I thought, man, that's easy.
Yeah.
It's 2x2 squares. You peel it and stick it and peel it and stick it and keep going. And
Done deal.
And I wanted the red and black like I got. So,
Yep.
And it may not last a month or 2 longer, but I can change it then if I want to.
Right.
But it started out like, okay, I like this.
Yep. Yep.
I'm not afraid to do anything.
Okay.
Luckily for me, my father, when I was young, and I tell people because I've got people that are in our communities that come up to me and say, I always try to get my sons out to get them to help me do the plumbing or help me do this or help me do that. And they just won't do it. My dad just walked in and said, grab your shoes. We got work to do.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here we go. And we go work on the cars. I mean, I remember helping my dad work on the car as I grew up. I remember one of the last times that it happened, he had called me and says, hey, can you come over to the house? I got to help your sister change an alternator or something like that. So I pull up, walk in, tell everybody hello, and then I just go out in the garage. I just go start. And he doesn't even realize I'm out there. He comes out. By the time he gets out there, I'm almost done.
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you doing? We're going to do this. I said, I understand, but Dad, I got this. You go sit down and enjoy yourself. He was probably 80 years old at the time.
Right.
And he's like, no, I came out to help. And it's like, Dad, don't help. You always, my dad was bald.
Yeah.
He could think about working on a car and cut his head. He just had to think about it. And he's out there for 5 minutes and sure enough, his head's bleeding. It's like, Dad, see? So he grabs a paper towel and takes care of it and I finish up. But that's what led to me understanding, look, I'm mechanically inclined.
Right.
So when I got into plumbing, it was even better.
Right.
Loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nowadays, we don't have shop in schools. There's no trades in schools. They're trying to get it back in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very proud of Texas and what they're doing. They're making it where certain schools that if they adopt a syllabus can, when you roll in school, go through your freshman year and they'll tell you about it. Well, then your sophomore, junior, senior year, if you want to be a plumber, you take plumbing. And there's other courses too, but plumbing is a big part of it. When you get out of high school, you're eligible to go take your tradesman exam, which pays about $25 an hour. So there's a $50,000 a year job just when you walk out of high school.
Right out of the gate. That's amazing.
Now, y'all have got it a little different. You've got trade college in Utah,
Yes.
and you've got two different daughters going there now. A son went there, right?
One daughter going, one planning on going next year when she's eligible.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Now the one going,
Yep.
is going for what?
Medical billing and coding.
Which you would think, okay, that's just an office position. It's a secretary,
Right.
which you would think,
Right.
but it's not, because I understand that billing and coding is a completely different deal.
The specialty. Yeah.
You bet.
Yep.
And how long does she go to school?
She'll do that so it's a 2-year program, but
Okay.
it's self-paced.
Mhm.
So she graduated this year and she'll be done next month. So it's, a year and a half.
And what kind of money can she make the day she walks out?
So we looked just recently
You
actually at this, and starting salaries are around 62 grand a year
Not a bad deal for
an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a bad deal.
Not bad at all. And they go up from there, and she can work from home for most of the positions that are out there. And the best part is she's 18. So she can still figure out if she can try it, because she's worried
You
right
bet.
now. She's like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. And I said, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You've got that skill. You've got that trade to fall back on. And you want to go to something else, then go to something else. But you can be making a good living while you're learning to do something else. Start a side hustle. So I encourage all my kids to do side hustles.
Love it.
And I feel like
That's how you got to where you're at.
that's how I got to where I'm at. I have a
love
lot
it.
of friends in the same boat. Now I'm doing side hustles on my side hustles. I just started a new business literally in the last couple of months with a couple of buddies. And there's so many ways that you can support your family, that you can make a good living, and more importantly, that you can be like a blessing to someone else, that you can help someone else with something they need. So she's got that. She's almost done. And I'm just excited that our community offers that opportunity to these kids. And it's totally free their senior year. And if it takes them longer than their senior year, then it costs next to nothing. I think it's literally like a few $100 twice a year
so cool.
for them to learn a trade.
So cool.
And to your earlier point, Roger, what's interesting, I did all shops through school, right? I grew up in New England. We had wood shop. We did a little bit of metal shop. We did CAD. I loved CAD. I did computer aided drafting and actual drafting before that. And again, these are all things that I was like, I love this. This is like, that's the one thing that made me say, I'm going to school today, right? I don't want to go to math. I don't want to go to history.
No, I get it.
But man, get me into that drafting class and I'm there. But our kids still have some of that. And again, it varies from state to state quite a bit. But my kids have done, they call it college and career awareness, which is, I think, pretty awesome, where they're basically saying, try some different things. We're going to have you exposed to YouTube type stuff. We're going to have you exposed to media, to just different ways to study and different ways to learn. And then also they're doing wood shop. They have 3D printers. They have laser engravers. They have a shop of some sort, at least in the schools. And boy, if that goes away, and I know it's going away in certain places, I mean, it's a tragedy.
It is a tragedy. I've had people reach out to me from, for some reason, I'm thinking I'm going to say Italy, and said, look, I love what you're doing for the trades, because they used to be known, this particular place in Italy where he was, the people like handmade the doilies or something, the beautiful little cloth that, you lay out and you put a cake plate on it or something like that. And this person reaches out and says, they used to teach this, used to teach it in the schools, or there were people you could reach out to that were maestros that trained you and did this. And they're not around anymore. Now nobody makes those anymore, and you can't find them anymore, and nobody knows who to go to because nobody's there to teach you. And, I talk about this in the trades all the time. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, 5 years, plumbers make $100 an hour on the check.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you said the trade school teaches plumbing, electrical, air conditioning, automotive, all the cool stuff.
Yep.
The people that are getting in the trades right now, trades that you don't go to college for, trades that require manual dexterity. You get in, you work with your hands. It's something a robot can't do.
Yep.
Those trades, the kids that are getting in it now, in 5 to 10 years, they're going to be your next entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They're going to see the world different. They're going to be like, okay, wait, how can we do this?
Right.
The median age for plumbers, I think, in Texas right now is 58, 57 years old.
I remember hearing that. Yeah.
So 7 to 10 years from now, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Every year now, for every 10 people that retire, only 4 are getting back into the trade.
Yeah.
And I spoke at an event last week. Actually, I'm at this table, and one of the things that we ask people are, What problem do you solve? Who do you serve? How do you do it? What happens if you don't?
Yeah, it's a good question.
It concretes in your why. If I don't help get more people in the trades, that's why I'm telling them that there's a million unfilled trades jobs across the U.S. right now.
Yeah.
And $1 trillion in student debt. So figure that out. We're not sending people into the trades. We're telling them if you don't get in the trades, you're never going to amount to anything, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
But when it came to how does this, or what happens if I don't do this?
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at this table and it's all women. I said, it hurts y'all. I said, it hurts everybody in this room.
Yeah.
If we don't get more people into the trades, 5 or 10 years, say 5 years from now,
Okay.
if I'm paying plumbers $100 an hour because of supply and demand,
Yep.
and it is coming quick, that means me as a service company owner, I've got to charge, I'm going to say $700 or $800 an hour to change the flapper on your toilet.
Right.
Nobody wants to pay that. Nobody can afford to pay that.
And these women in the room,
It blew their mind.
right? Yeah.
They're like, well, why would it be this much? Well, I've got profit and I've got overhead and I've got materials and I've got a vehicle and I've got insurance and I've got marketing and advertising. And I started going down the list, and I mean, the mouths just got further and further open. And it's like, I've got to still make money. If I'm paying him $100 an hour,
Paying him, that's one aspect of it, right?
yeah, that's one part of it.
Right.
I've still got to pay to get your attention to make my phone ring.
Right.
I've still got to pay for that van. I've still got to pay for the insurance. I've still got to pay for the shop, the land. I mean, we just bought property.
Sure. Yeah.
You look at everything, and it's like everything that goes into it. And look, there's great best practice groups
Yep.
that teach people how to do their company, how to do it right.
Right.
We've got YouTube coaches. They teach us how to do it right.
Right.
And it's all systems and processes. Well, if you're hiring a guy that makes $100 an hour, there's a multiplier and a factor and
Yep.
tweaking and modifying and yada, yada, yada. Guys, it's going to be $700 or $800 an hour.
And that's, no one wants to pay
for
that.
a plumber.
For a plumber. Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
It's nuts, but supply and demand is that way across the board. It's going to be your plumbers, your electricians, anybody that comes to your house to do stuff.
Yeah. So right along with that, I feel like one of the shifts I want to make in my focus is on youth, the younger generation. And when I say youth, I mean, I'm not talking about, 8-year-olds. I'm talking about 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds. And I guess I'm getting old when I think of 30-year-olds as the young people, I guess. But trying to make sure that everybody from that young age to our age to, beyond, gets that there's a lot that they can do themselves. Because I do think there is this attitude that comes with all of the, basically we can have anything we want in this world, like especially with technology, it kind of makes everything at our fingertips. But that sometimes translates negatively into our desire to do things with our hands and to do things ourselves and to do things that take time. And I'm guilty of that for sure. There's a lot of times when I want that instant gratification. But if we can get a younger generation interested in both sides of this, I think the DIY side and understanding how systems work in their house, as well as the trades, to say, I could actually make a great career out of this. And I think those just go hand in hand. It just makes sense. But the more people tend to alienate that or think less of getting their hands dirty and figuring something out themselves, the more all of that is going to be driven up. It's going to be insane. So
what if I designed a DIY toy for plumbers, for kids,
okay.
not plumbers?
Yep. Future plumbers.
You bet.
Yeah.
There's a little can of glue. There's a little can of cement. You go glue it together, and there's gloves, and you do this, and now you built a rocket launcher.
I like that. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, and this is something
Yeah.
you're thinking got me going that direction.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about that. Mark Rober's doing it.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
exactly what he's doing. Crunch Labs.
Engineering, Crunch Labs. You bet.
Yep.
But my thought is, what if it became Trades Labs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to teach you how to wire a circuit board with a battery and little light bulbs.
Right.
Guess what, guys? It's the same as if there's a plug on the end.
Yep.
Different light bulbs, different transformers, converters, whatever.
Right.
And I'm not an electrician guy, so
No, you're good. Yeah.
but plumbing, same type thing. What if we put little valves? What if we gave them glue joints or push to connect fittings or this and this and this?
Start getting into pneumatics and air pressure and all
bet.
that stuff. Yeah.
And it's like, so anyway, that's where my mind went.
Okay. No, I love it.
And it does it immediately.
Yeah.
And if I don't write it down, my mind moves so fast. By the time 2 minutes goes by, I'll be like, wait, I had a great idea. What was it?
What was it? Yeah.
And it's gone.
I love it. And what Mark Rober is doing,
It's huge.
It's huge because he really is teaching people just what we're talking about. He's teaching people to start thinking about how stuff works instead of just assuming that it's going to work. And this all ties into that throwaway mentality that we're kind of moving toward. I will proudly tell anyone that we had my wife always corrects me on the years. I actually think it's less than it really was. We had a washer and dryer, our last washer and dryer, for I think 17 years. I kept saying 14. She's like, Nils, it was 17 years. And I fixed the dryer probably 3 times, probably fixed 2 things on the washer, but they were your basic, simple washer and dryer, nothing fancy. We have 4 kids. It's a lot of loads of laundry every week, and those things did their time. We finally broke down and got a newer basic set, just mostly because of time, right? I was like, I probably could fix this a little bit, but then anyways, it got to the point where like, okay, it's probably reasonable at this point to get a new set. But I was proud that we could fix that, right? And so I would have same thing. I'd pull my kids and be like, look, this is called a heating element. It's not working. Let's figure out why. Guess how much a heating element costs? It's like $15.
You bet.
We pop that in there, take it out, put the new one in, and that's that. And guess what? We just got 2 more years of life out of this thing, or 5 more years, or whatever it is. But what I'm noticing though, with my kids at least, is that sometimes I remember oil changes. I'd make them kind of like your dad. I'd say, kids, get your shoes on. We're going out to the garage. We're going to change oil. We're going to do that. You're going to learn how to do it. And the looks on their faces were all the same. It's like, oh my gosh, kill me. Why am I here? Why is my dad making me do this? And I asked them today. I mean, the first time we did that was years ago. And I'm like, do you remember anything about it? They're like, I remember you made us do it. I remember seeing there's something underneath and there's some stuff that went in the top. You know, they remember the basics, but they couldn't go do it themselves now.
I'd say that we need to do it again.
Right?
Come on, y'all.
Right. And my son always says, well, I'll just go YouTube it. When I need to do something, I'll go YouTube. I'm like, okay, I guess that's somewhat valid. But with all of that, my son, who's 20 now, he had this project he wanted to do, and he was always reluctant to help me with any of this stuff. Just wasn't for him. He just didn't want to. But he went off while I was actually at Vid Summit and at another conference. I was back-to-back gone for 2 weeks, and he wanted to try to get as much of this project done before I got home. He was kind of transforming his room, but it was woodworking, it was nails, it was finishing, it was sanding, it was all this kind of stuff. And he wanted to surprise me and have it done. And he kept saying, you know, that I might theoretically be doing some project. If I were theoretically doing this, where would I find the planer? And where would I find a router and that kind of stuff? Or hypothetically, that's the word he kept using. So when I get home, my son's in the middle of this project, and it's a pretty big project, but I could tell that he's got this mix of kind of being a little frustrated with how long everything is taking and how much work it actually is to do it. And then also, but with anticipation, he's eager. He's like, Dad, look at where I've gotten to so far. I can't do this part by myself. I need some help. But the fact is, he sees me doing all these things, even though he's generally not interested. When he becomes interested or has a need, he's like, I know I can do this because I've seen my dad do this stuff. He doesn't have special training in any of these things, but he went out and figured it out and can do it. I can do it too. And I was like, ooh, proud dad moment right there, you know,
I like
and seeing him do these things. And then now he's starting to do that in business and trying to start little business ventures and get things going. And he's realizing there's no cap. There's no limit to what I can do. Like it's really up to me to figure out where I want to go and where I want to be. And I feel like a lot of that comes from us modeling as best we can, and our parents and our grandparents modeling that too, what it means to just go figure something out and just go get something done. It's exciting that like there is no limit. I mean, we live in a place where we can do anything we want. It's awesome.
The neat thing that I hear right there is, I mean, my parents didn't teach me that. My parents were like, you know, you get a job, you get a good job, you hold on to it forever, you never leave. I remember one time going to see my dad, and this is later in life. He was retired, and my father worked for Western Electric, AT&T, Ma Bell, whatever you called it at the time. For almost 40 years. And I mean, almost like just days short, but that's the way they set up his retirement for some reason. I remember when I got in the union, I changed companies a few times.
Sure.
Every 2 or 3 years, I'd go to work for a different company. And I was normally back and forth with the same companies. And I remember going over to see him one day, and I'm talking to him and told him, I went back to work over here and going to do this project over here, yada, yada, yada. And he says, son, I want to talk to you. I said, okay. He said, don't you think it would be smart to just pick one of these companies and stay there forever?
If you're enjoying the Trade Talks, hit that subscribe or follow button, which helps us produce this awesome blue-collar content absolutely free. And now, back to the episode.
I said, maybe. I said, but Dad, you understand I don't quit and leave. These other companies call me and say, hey, we've got a job we need you for.
Right.
Dad, I don't just leave. People pay me to leave.
Yeah.
And he kind of looked at me and says, well, what do you mean by that? I said, well, Dad, this last job, I got a $6 an hour raise. They offered me $6 more than I was making.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 12 to 18 grand a year because we'll work overtime. We'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. He said, wait, 12 to 18 grand a year? I'm like, yeah, it's a raise.
Yeah.
He sat there and he said, you know what, you just keep doing what you're doing. I think you're doing okay. They saw it completely different.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But, I love the fact my dad he always had tools.
Yep.
He didn't think there was anything he couldn't do.
Yeah.
When it came to building it, we added a bedroom.
Okay.
We had a big living room. And he's like, if I put a wall up here and a door here, we can put a bedroom here. So then me and my brother didn't have to have the same room anymore. It was like, okay, this is kind of neat. And watched him build it and how he did it. And he wasn't afraid to try anything.
Sure.
Somebody asked me, what is wrong with guys coming out of school today? We don't have shop classes. We don't have the automotive class to teach them how to work on their car, I said, look, guys walking out of school these days don't know how to build anything. They don't know how to fix anything.
Mm-hmm.
As men our age, when we got out of school, we knew, look, I can fix stuff. I can build stuff. I can do this.
Yep.
Most of us, not all of us.
Right.
Some went and played band. Great. That was their choice.
Right.
But those of us that were mechanically inclined, we had a class, like you said, look, I'm going for the drafting AutoCAD class.
Right.
That's what keeps me excited.
Yep.
If teachers knew that more, how do I keep Nils excited every day
and wanting to come back?
Give him a class that he gets excited about.
Absolutely.
I tell people all the time, I think I read 4 books during school.
Yeah.
12 years.
Yeah. I'm with you, dude.
But it was like, and I got upset my junior year, sophomore year, junior. I did read a book. It was one of the 4 I read. Wrote a report on it. Teacher says it was the 4th one.
Yeah.
Teacher says, you didn't read this book. You just read the Cliff Notes.
Okay.
I said, no. I read the book. She said, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. And I'm like, I'll never read a book again because when I don't read them and write reports on them, men are amazing.
Yeah.
But when I read the book, you tell me you didn't read this.
You got the backwards lesson there. Yeah.
I'm not reading anymore. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I did later.
Right.
What do you think about kids today that come out of school? And I say kids, it's not just boys.
Right.
That come out of school and they don't know how to build anything. They don't know how to fix anything. They don't know how to change their tires. They don't know how to change the oil. They don't know how to stop a running toilet.
Right.
They don't know how to change a light switch that is flickering or not working.
I read a book not that long ago, a couple years ago, called Extreme Ownership by I want to say Jocko Willink.
Very good.
I don't know if I said that right.
Yep.
And he actually spoke at one of the conferences I was at recently, and it does transform a little bit your realization of where the fault lies. And so I think we have some of the smartest, most capable, most eager kids that we've ever seen.
You bet.
Generation wise.
They've got more knowledge in their pocket than we had in the whole library.
Absolutely.
No, I agree.
Absolutely. Potential through the roof, right? I think we're failing them in many ways, not just as a school or an educational system, but also as parents in many ways. And again, I'm including myself in this. There's a lot that I'm not doing well.
I get it.
So I feel like we are dropping the ball in helping these kids become all that they need to be and understand the basics of what's around them. We're raising them to kind of take a lot of this for granted. I've got a 13-year-old, a 16-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 20-year-old. And I'm trying to walk that line right now as a dad. How much do I make them do versus do I call someone in? Do I do this myself? If I do it myself, do I involve them? And these are all questions I'm asking myself constantly when our house is not that old. It's about 9 years old, but it's at that age where stuff starts to break. That first generation of like the water heater going out and the toilets needing repair and that sort of thing. So it's kind of a fun, it's a pain in the butt, but it's also kind of a fun stage because I get to show them we can fix all this stuff. But I think in general, to answer that question, it's us. We're the ones who are responsible for showing them what needs to be done at this point, how to fix things, how to maintain things, how things work. And that's one of the things that's really dawning on me lately is that most people don't understand, and I keep using the word systems, but they're all systems. How does your plumbing system work? How does your HVAC system work? How does your the structure of your house work? So if they have no idea how those systems work, they just know that they do work, but they don't understand anything behind the scenes, the Oz behind the curtain, then that's on us for not showing that to them. So the more we can expose them to that sort of thing and get them curious, do the crunch labs kind of thing, the more they're going to say, oh, I get this. This is cool. So I don't think it's anything wrong with that generation. I think it's wrong with us, maybe our generation, for not promoting that.
I think that's definitely the biggest group I'm working with.
Mm-hmm.
My BHAG is to recruit 1.5 million people into the trades.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And doing an exercise one day, who are your supporters? What are you about? Why does this help them? Why does this help the world? Yada, yada, yada. But one of the things is, who are you fighting against for this?
Mm.
Who do you have to look at them and say, look, what your principals told you were wrong, what your counselors told you were wrong, what your teachers told you were wrong, what your parents told you were wrong.
Yeah.
Your aunts and uncles, your friends.
A lot of people.
It is. And these are all people they've looked up to and respected their entire life.
Yeah.
Now, Roger, the plumber's coming in saying, look, these people are ignorant. That's all it is.
Right. That's a tall goal.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Because you've got to let them understand, look, it's not that they told you that on purpose. They didn't lie to you on purpose.
Right.
They just don't know. I had my business partner here the other day for one of these podcast interviews. And, like I did you, it's like, look, I don't even know what my first question is going to be yet. Here we go.
Yeah.
And I'll sit and think about conversations we've had or things I know and yada, yada. And I looked at him, I said, so you're a multimillionaire. And he just started laughing. He's
okay.
like, wow. Yeah. I am. And I don't guess I've ever answered yes to that question.
Okay. Yeah.
I said, but it's true. And he's like, yeah. I said, and you're an electrician. And he starts laughing. He's like,
yeah.
So he's an electrician and HVAC tech and a multi-millionaire now.
Yeah.
If you told most parents, teachers, principals, counselors, look, little Johnny graduating high school can become a multi-millionaire.
Right.
What we need to instill in little Johnny is, look, learn how to do good business. Learn, accounting, learn numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough on me.
Right.
I remember being told as I grew up, if you don't go to college, you're never going to amount to anything.
Yep.
And I heard that so many times that when I didn't, it's like, okay, I'm nothing.
Right.
And a big problem too is once I did get into the trades, tradespeople get in the trades to become a tradesman. I got in plumbing to become a plumber.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once I became a plumber, it's like, okay, I'm a plumber now. Just let me plumb.
Yeah.
No more learning, no moving up. Just be a plumber. I'm a tool now.
You're just there.
Pull me out of the box when you need me. Put me in when you're done.
Yep. Cog in the wheel.
And then along the way, I started learning, wait, if I learn more, I can grow more.
Yeah.
And then I became a foreman, a superintendent, and director of operation, and start looking at it like, okay, why aren't I running my own company now?
Yeah.
And your mindset changes because I was not raised with the mindset. Look, you can make some money Mark Cuban does.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to come up with that idea that he had and say, okay, now grow it.
Right. Be persistent.
You bet.
Push it through. Yeah.
No, what? And it's funny because now when I coach people, whether it's YouTube, whether it's business, one of my first questions is, are you willing to do whatever it takes? Mm. And I compare it to their children. It's like, look, you're trying to run a business here. Would you just hand me your child and walk away and say, you run it for me?
Of course not. Yeah.
No, that's my baby.
Yep.
But you got to feel that same way about this business.
Yep.
You've got to be like, look, that's my baby.
Mm-hmm.
And we have these conversations around here. Sometimes we're like, Roger, we think this, it's like, you know what? I like this, but no, I don't want that.
Yep. Because you know what's best for your business.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, but that's not what resonates with me.
Right.
So,
I mean, playing off of that, this idea of running a business.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in this position where, like you've mentioned, I've been in IT, I've been a software engineer all of my life. And Now, as of, I'm about to hit year 3 of being self-employed and not doing anything but my own business. And I got to tell you, first of all,
And what do you call your own business right now? What is it you do?
oh, you want my short term?
I want to hear what you tell people you do for a living. What,
okay.
what are you? What is your business? Let's start there.
So my business is I help through video content. I help people be better homeowners.
Okay.
I help people to fix what needs fixing and upgrade what needs upgrading and maintain what needs maintaining by themselves. That's what I do. So it's YouTube, and that's the main platform that I use.
Mhm.
And we're just now realizing we're leaving so much on the table as far as the business. And again, this comes back to what we've been talking about. I need to learn how to run a business. I need to learn how to grow it. And I feel like I have unlimited potential here and so much capability to do so much more and help so many more people. And I'm excited by that. That's what drives me. But I got to learn. I got to figure out how to do all that. So teaching kids, this is just what you're saying, teaching kids how to realize they don't have to have a boss. They don't have to figure out, how to climb the ladder. Those are good things. I think in my opinion, everyone should work fast food or a restaurant or something like that at some point in their lives.
I did all the above.
Right? I did too. And many times. In fact, there's one goal. My wife still laughs at me for this, but I want to be a waiter. That's almost one of the only jobs
yes.
that I've not done.
You will learn service.
So yeah, I want to be a waiter because I feel like I try to always be respectful to waiters and waitresses, but I don't have that experience myself. So, but there's life experience that you need to have. But what life experience you don't need to have is how to be stuck in a wheel, how to be stuck in a job where you're just not happy. And I talk to people all the time who say, how do you do what you do? How did you get started? How is that even a possibility for me? I'm like, yes, you can totally do this. Do it as a side hustle and work your way up to it. Don't just quit your job. And like we spent years saving up and getting to the point where we realized this is a viable business. We can do this. But we're now in that growing phase, just like everybody. Like no one is born knowing how to run a business or anything like that. But if we can teach our kids, we can model it by being good examples of it. And you're doing that, right? That's what you're doing every day. And B, give them all the assets that they need to be able to learn how to do some of the stuff. Give them some responsibilities that they've never had. Help them to take on some challenges that they've just out of the box, not stuff they learn in school, not how to do X, Y, or Z, but just how to actually run something themselves. Then I feel like we're going to set them up for success that way. So that's what I'm excited about is hopefully my kids are seeing, and I surround them. I'm surrounded by other entrepreneurs. I have 2 really close friends who are both very entrepreneurial minded. One of whom has owned multiple businesses, and he's always been just done his own thing. He doesn't want to work for someone else. We joke, I'd much rather work 80 hours a week for myself than 40 for someone else.
Yes.
And that's what we do a lot of times, but we love it. And so my kids see that and they're like, oh, I can go work with him. I can work with my dad. I can go do my own thing. So I'm kind of circling back to a lot of the same kind of topics here with education, but that business mindset, like you said, that's crucial. If we can't teach them to run a business, then the entrepreneurial stuff, the trades, all that kind of stuff, they might just be, I came to a certain point. I know how to do these basic things and I'm stuck here. You got to learn how to run the business side of it.
So all that led down to one thing. You're a YouTuber.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I do use those words because people get it.
I know. I'm
a YouTuber. And they're like, no way.
I do too. I love that. So Nils, you talk about your kids and the side hustle and all that and what they're doing. They're all going to school to get a job.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you could lead them into a side hustle that you picked, not them.
Oh, okay.
What would it be?
I wouldn't do that. I want them to pick. They have to be passionate about it, right? If I could guide them and say kind of more generally, I don't know. I mean, part of me, because of my career and what I've been doing, it's kind of like get into sharing what you're doing in some form with other people so that they can benefit from it.
Do you tell everybody how easy it is to do YouTube?
I don't ever tell anybody it's easy. It's not.
Yeah, okay. And you're right. You're right.
I don't ever tell anybody it's easy, but I do tell them that it's fun. Like it's
a blast.
It's a gratifying job. I literally wake up, and I tell people this all the time because it's 100% true. I wake up and I say, thank you. Like I feel super blessed to do what I do for a living.
I love it. I tell people all the time, like, I'm living the most amazing life I could have ever imagined.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're a plumber. It's like, I know. I know. I am.
But you're not just a plumber.
I know.
You know, like
but
there's so
I
much more
use
you're
that,
doing with it.
I use that. I use that very well.
And there is no just a plumber, because and that's the whole point, I think, of our conversation today is figure out the next step for yourself.
Yep.
Figure out what that next step looks like, and then help the next generation do that too. Start, everybody needs these skills. Everybody needs these trades. Everybody needs to have an education or something they're contributing. And if you can pair a good business mindset with that, sky's the limit. Yeah.
Tell everybody where they can find you. Where all are you at?
This is what we're learning, but mostly on YouTube,
Okay.
right? And we're learning how to expand into ways that make more sense. But my YouTube channel is called LRN, the number 2 DIY.
So you don't know how to spell learn.
I
so
don't. I never learned.
Okay.
So that I'm not an English teacher or anything like that.
I love it. I love it.
No, we actually kind of regret that name a little bit, but we changed it from DIYNils.com, and we realized I'm probably not always going to be the only one on this channel to learn to DIY, and then we shortened it to make it look better or something. But my bad. So learn to DIY on YouTube, and honestly, none of the other platforms that we use are worth mentioning. We have some followers on Facebook and on TikTok and on Instagram and all that kind of stuff, but I haven't paid them much mind. It's really YouTube where I focus on putting the content out.
Good deal.
Yeah.
I like that. Do you try to get your kids to create content yet?
No, I mean, I've pushed, like I have my oldest daughter, for example, loves art and drawing and is super talented at it. And so for like 5-6 years, I've said, Addie, you gotta, share this with people. You can do really well. And she's always resisted. And so I finally got to the point where I'm like, I am not bringing this up anymore. I think all I'm doing is frustrating her by bringing it up. But my son, for example, he's actually a super talented editor and kind of I don't know if I want to use the word filmmaker, if he would consider it that, but he's really good with his buddies at capturing video and then editing it so well that it looks amazing. Like I like watching his stuff. It's super entertaining.
That's cool.
And so he's kind of naturally got that going on. And then one of my other daughters loves, not as much lately, but she's generally been really into photography and that kind of stuff. So yes, I'm kind of like, if you have any inkling of a desire to do this, I'm with you. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
I like that.
But they've got to want at least a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm. If you could go back to Nils the first day he walks out of the house, he's headed to school, headed to the trade school. Or maybe even he's already been there. He's walking out to go to his first job.
Okay.
Knowing what you know now, everything that you've learned and gone through along the way, knowing everything you know now, what would you go back and tell Nils that day? That he's walking out the front door, he's going to get in the car to head to his first real job.
Yep.
After college, after training, after education. What would you tell him that day?
I would say you can do more on your own. You have the ability to go start your own thing and start it today. Have that job, get that solid income, have that money to pay the bills, but start on your own thing now. Don't wait. Don't underestimate yourself. Don't think that that's for someone else. Get started. Find something that you love and share it with people. Find a way to turn what you love into a business and help it make money for you and help it help other people. Anybody can do that. You just got to find and identify what that passion is and then get started. There's always a way to start today. And I didn't know that at the time. I didn't have that vision. I didn't have that foresight.
I love that because I tell tradespeople whenever I bring kids in that are wanting to start in the trades, I always tell them, think about your end game. Where do you want to end up?
Yeah.
Do you want to be a big superintendent in a company that you can make a good living doing? Director of operations where you're running somebody else's company, you can do that. Or do you want to run your own company?
Right.
Start thinking about that now and realize every day you go to work is what I'm working on now going to help me get to where I'm going.
Yeah.
And think about it that way.
I love it.
Nils, this has been fantastic.
Likewise. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
sir.